everybody. Welcome to Monday Night Live in Lexington, you guys. My name is Kathryn Kauffman, and I'm a psychic medium here in Lexington, Kentucky. Welcome to my every Monday night show. This is where we discover what and who we are in this big old journey called life. Welcome to Kentucky, everybody. So my regulars know what this means when I say, What is for dinner, David?
What is for dinner? I'll tell you what's for dinner tonight. We're going to have some baked sweet potatoes and some blistered tomato salmon.
Ooh, that sounds really
butter garlic sauce.
Quite awesome.
Yay!
Yay! Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for dropping in.
Anytime.
He actually dropped in to bring me this. This is a famous David martini. Yes, indeed. This is an adult show. No kids need to be watching me drink a martini. Let me pull the chat up. And there we go. Let's see if the chat's going to work tonight. Hey to all you guys over here on Instagram joining. Let me wave to you. See how things are going. Also, I want to now I'm going to go back and look at my Facebook page because even though it says the chat is up there, it isn't. So I'll tell you what, let's just go with, I'm going to watch the feed on Facebook on another window because I don't want to miss any of your guys' comments or questions. Okay. So if you want to, and you feel inclined to pitch in a little for the show, there's a QR code right beside me here, and you can scan that and send some coffee money. Coffee. We need coffee. Hey to all you guys on Instagram. Good to see you. All right. So this is the September Dream Show. So what we're doing is people send me their dreams throughout the month, and I collect them, I analyze them, print it out, and then we take a look at that on the show. And it's an anonymous interpretation, so I don't ever tell who's dreamed what. That's totally anonymous. So anytime you have a dream that you can't figure out, or you need more information on, just go on Facebook or maybe a DM on Instagram and message me that dream, and I'll put it on the next month's show. So here we are. Okay, let me look at Facebook's window really quick and refresh so I can make sure I get everybody's comments here. Hey to Martha McGuire, good to see you tonight. As always, Martha, if you will drop a link to your book in the comments so that people can see that. There may be somebody here tonight who needs to read your book, and it's all about being an empath. Hey to Melissa Newman, and I cannot read this one, but hey to you too. And Dana Likens-Fleener, good to see you guys this evening. Okay. Let's get started on some dreams. So, I had somebody tonight who wanted to know, and I always get this about, remembering the dreams. How do I remember my dreams? Now, I do have another video on the channel specifically about dream recall and dream incubation. And I'm going to put up some QR codes that you guys can use. Let's just do one now. This is for dream incubation of the greater self. These products are listed on my Amazon shop, so I might get a nickel if you decide to buy it. But these are books that I recommend that people use if they're wanting to do this kind of work. So dream incubation is actually a step further than dream recall. to learn how to really interpret your dreams symbolically, this is the best book that I have found by Rosemary Ellen Guiley, The Encyclopedia of Dreams and Symbols. And it really teaches you how to interpret the dream within the whole context of looking at it. So you don't ever want to just focus on one aspect of the dream. And so I'm going to ask you guys, if you decide to send your dream in, what you need to do is put as much detail as possible about the dream. What's the setting? What are you around? Is anybody else there with you? The actions of what's going on in the dream, any colors that stand out in the dream, because those have meaning also. And any kind of feeling that comes up in the dream. What was the feeling behind it? Because all of those are clues to an accurate interpretation. And if you just take one aspect of the dream that may bother you and look it up in a dream dictionary, you could be interpreting it totally wrong or completely incorrect. So what we try to do in these shows is I want to present the dreams so that you can kind of see how to do a proper interpretation, when people send it in. Now, the dreams that I have tonight, they're short. They don't have enough detail. And I'm going to tell you, I don't have enough detail. People didn't send in enough details to really properly interpret, but I'm going to do the best that I can. And I'm sure they'll let me know if they think that it is, on point or if it isn't. But back to doing dream recall. So what you want to do is you want to find out, when is the most significant time that I'm dreaming at night? Because you're going to have several dreams through the night, and most of these you will not remember. The only time that you remember a dream is if you're woken up in the middle of that dream. So if you wake up at any other time that you're not dreaming, you're not going to remember the dreams unless a visitation from somebody who's passed on. So because visitations, you never forget any detail. And I have a really old show about, visitations versus dreams. Hey, this Seashell over here on Instagram. Good to see you. And I will try to redo that show soon because I have more information that I can add to it. So what you want to do is find out, when is the most significant time that I'm dreaming the most important dream. And so really what you've got to do is to wake yourself at different times every single night. And the key to this is you need to go to bed the same time every night in order for this to work. So you're gonna, let's say the first night you wake yourself up at 1 o'clock in the morning. Yes, you're gonna set an alarm. You're gonna wake yourself up at 1 to see if you're dreaming. Let's say you wake up at 1 and you're not dreaming. So the next night you're going to set your alarm for, let's say, 1:30. You wake yourself up, you're still not dreaming. The next night you set your alarm for 2 a.m. And then you wake yourself up, and let's say you're having a very vivid, very significant dream. What I like to do is just to take a pad of paper and a pen and leave it by my bed. And whatever I'm dreaming about, I'll use initials that represent the main context of the dream. Let's say I'm dreaming about a lake and I'm swimming. So I would put the initials L and S. Now, in the old days when they first taught dream recall, you were supposed to sit and write down everything. But what I found was that if I went to those links to write everything down, then I could never go back to sleep. And some dream recall books will actually tell you to put a little recorder by your bed and, verbally record your dream. Again, the same thing. If I'm fiddling with the buttons on a recorder to figure out which one of them is record and then trying to get it turned off, I'm not going to go back to sleep. What I found is if I put that tablet with a pen, and I can just write big. I don't even have to turn the light on. I can just put LS and throw the pen down and roll over and go back to sleep. And that way, I'm not awake enough to be triggered with insomnia. So that always works for me. Let me look at the chat real quick, and I'm going to look at Facebook real quick to see. Thank you, Martha. I appreciate you putting that information down for us. Awesome. Martha's a good person to get readings from if you're so inclined as well. Let me refresh really quick and see if we have any more questions. Okay, we're good. All right. I just got to make sure we're fine. Okay. So let's go back to our QR codes here. So that's kind of how, like a brief way that you're going to do dream interpretation. Now, dream recall. Dream incubation is one step further. Once you learn how to recall your dreams, and you're going to interpret your dreams using that little book that I'm showing up there on the QR codes, you're going to go one step further, and your subconscious is what you're communicating with in your dreams. And so when we go one step further for dream incubation, what we do is we pose a question to our subconscious that we're having trouble with, or maybe we need the answer to. And let's say I need the answer to, what should I do next month? What theme should I do next month? You're going to ask your subconscious out loud about 9 times before you go to bed. And then let's say, every night at 2 a.m., you're dreaming your most significant dream. You're going to wake yourself up at 2, and you will be dreaming the answer to that question that you posed to your subconscious before you went to bed. And you need to know how to interpret it correctly to get the correct answer, right? Okay. I hope that makes sense to you guys. There was, before we go on any further, I want to put up some friends of ours that have a true crime podcast. I listen to it every Wednesday. It's such fun, interesting, sometimes gory stories. But if you like true crime, this is the podcast for you. No, I'm not getting paid for this endorsement. I just absolutely love the show, and I love the people who do the podcast, and they also have a YouTube channel. So if you want to follow that, the QR code is on the screen. And we will be getting into these dreams next. Until then, I want to put up my Patreon page. And on my Patreon page, I have the daily, people used to see the planetary influences on Facebook every day. Well, they've moved to my Patreon page, and they're extended now. So you get a look at what's the energy for the day, and it's in detail. Hey to all you guys on Instagram, thank you for joining. You also get what's the health focus for fall and winter. In spring and summer, I do like planning guide on there as well, so you know kind of what are good days and bad days to plant. And then I also do like travel advisory for Moon Mansion predictions. And, if you work with gemstones, what's the best gemstone for the energy of the day? And I hope you guys are noticing this is a new background behind me. I moved my studio from the basement up to my office that I do readings out of. I must be getting parched, and I need a little martini to wet my palate. See, that's my cough medicine. But anyway, not convinced about the camera angle yet, because my laptop fits too tight into the cabinet, and I can't get the same trajectory on my camera angle, so I had to figure out something else. Hey to Nancy Jenkins and Ina on Facebook. Good to see you guys. A little shout out to everybody. So let's get into some dreams, shall we? Now, this is an example of one dream that was sent in that I needed more information and I didn't get it, but I think I have enough to do a good interpretation of it. So this person writes, I had this dream a couple of months ago. I dreamed I was having a baby. What I delivered was a skull with the baby's complete skeleton inside. I had no idea on this one, but it sort of freaks me out. Okay, so that's very, very little information to go from, but anytime that you have a dream about birthing or babies or becoming a mom or something like that, that always signifies a new beginning or a fresh start on something. And the only interpretation I can come up with for this is that, you know, when you get to the bones of a situation, you're going down to the very core of things. You're going down to the bones is what I thought of when I read this. Excuse me, the new beginning or the fresh start has to go all the way down to the skeleton or to the bones of it. And so that means starting over or starting fresh, but starting at the base level or, you know, the core of it, which means you can't start over halfway. You can't, you know, start over part way, I guess. I wish they had sent in more on this because I would love to see the rest of it. Hey to Yasmin Jadoon on YouTube. Good to see you guys. Thank you so much. I'm going to try to flip back and forth and check all of the platforms for questions and stuff. So Martha says, I felt that in my dreams, I visit my own alternate realities. So wild. Okay. And okay, Martha, that's important because if you've ever followed, I think her name is Dolores Cannon, and she does hypnotherapy or did hypnotherapy. She professes that in our dreams, we do go to alternate realities. And I believe that as well, because here's why I believe that, because there's a certain brainwave, and I teach this in all of my not meditation, but mediumship sessions. There's a certain brainwave that allows you to connect with the people who've passed on. And in my mediumship sessions, I try to teach my clients how to make their own connection with the person that they're missing. I think that is one of the most important things that I do in my mediumship, is to explain it in detail and help that person try to have their own what we call visitation. And so what the spirit does is they use the specific brainwave to enter your dream and to visit with you. Now, they're in an alternate reality. You know, they're not in a physical reality. So because we can establish a visit between us and them, and we can pretty much elicit that visitation if we become, you know, really good at it. So you're sort of being your own medium, which is kind of what I teach. Use other alternate realities using the same technique. That's what I feel. And so I agree with you, Martha. So Martha says, yes, there are places and people I see in such detail, and they feel so familiar, like I've been there before, even though I've never seen these places in this timeline. Absolutely. So it's my belief that you definitely are visiting an alternate reality or a different timeline even. So let's go into the second dream. This person says, I had multiple dreams, and in each one of them, someone would either yell Africa or they would be playing a recording that screamed Africa. I've never had something so random in a dream. I don't have any association with Africa. I haven't watched anything about Africa. I haven't been discussing Africa. So random, I feel like it has to mean something. Yes, it does mean something, but you're only giving me one word to go on. Like, what was the other dreams about? That might have given me a better clue as to how to interpret this. So I'm really in the dark on this one, and this is all I could come up with. So please, 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 guys, when you send your dreams in, I want to know who you're talking to, what's going on, how are you feeling, what colors are standing out, what are you seeing? All I have is a screamed word here. So I'm going to do the best I can on this. So what I feel like this may mean is the word African may relate to a perception that is inherent in that society. And the perception, I think, in that society, this is what I've read, because I don't know, this is just what I've read, is totality, like everything's connected. They look at things in harmonious connections between, material and spiritual. So all things are in totality or connected. And so I wish I knew the rest of the dream so that I could figure out, maybe there's a spirit guide that was to them, trying to get them to look at things through this perception lens. But I just don't have that information. So I do need more information. These are very short, names. So here's another one. This person says, I was dreaming of being on a train. I was the only one on the train, and it was going through large, green, lush mountains. The train was elaborate. There were old style things on the table. And then all of a sudden, a hawk crashes into one of the windows and looks me in the eye before it falls away. The color of the hawk's eye stood out, and it was bright golden colored. Then I woke up. Now, this has a lot more detail to it. And so I think I've got a really good interpretation of this one. So anytime you dream of a train, it can represent personal development or growth. Like somebody who's working on personal development, somebody who's working on growth. The fact that it's going through large, green, lush mountains is a detail that I can expand on or expound on. The green color represents health, rebirth, and renewal. And so what I feel like that part of the dream means is whatever personal development or personal growth that they're working on is paying off in the life path. They're traveling through this lush mountain area. And so what I feel like is that the knowledge that they're gaining through the personal development is acting on their life path as a renewal or a rebirth type of experience. Now, when you see a hawk in a dream, it usually means, and I think in the context of this dream, is that there's clear vision with that person who's doing the personal development, and there's a deep understanding of the information that they're working on or that they're learning. Now, the eye of the hawk stands out before it drops away from view. And again, the eye of the hawk meaning clear vision or deep understanding. So the dream and the subconscious are kind of zooming in on that eye, meaning Pay attention. Can you see? And the color of the hawk's eye is golden. And the connotations for the golden color are success, abundance. They're all positive. So the personal development probably will eventually lead to some success and abundance for the person who's doing that. So again, let me switch to the chat and see if we have any questions here. Hey to Sheila, good to see you tonight. So hang on. Martha says, but yes, we need more info. Love trying to interpret dreams as well and give assistance. Absolutely. It's a big part of what we do. That could be something from a past life or a call to travel there. Yes, that could be too. Absolutely. So Nancy wants to know, how do you learn who your spirit guide is? You know what, Nancy? Why don't we do a show on that next week? How about it? So let me jot that down really quick here. Next week, how do you learn who your spirit guide is? Okay, let's do that next week, because if I start talking about it, we could go on and on and on and on. So Nancy, tune in next week. I promise you we'll have some answers. So Sheila says, I keep having a dream my parents are alive and never died like we thought. They are living in a huge old farmhouse that family friends had back in the day. We go in the big walk-in attic through things that are my parents. My parents don't have any reason to explain where they've been all this time. They've been playing hooky. Oh me, I'll tell you, this one's easy, Sheila. The time of the farmhouse is what they're wanting you to remember. So when they reference the farmhouse, what they're showing you is that could be a memory that they're existing within. So they're showing you a time frame, like this is a nice memory that we have and we're existing here together in this memory. And they're kind of showing you that. But that's a visitation from them. It's not a dream. That's an actual visit. And those you can learn how to do more of, and you can learn how to interact with if you learn more about what I do in mediumships. So that's awesome. But they're showing you that they're actually is still in existence. That's why I say it's a visit. It's a visitation from them. So let's go on with some more dream interpretation here. Okay. So this person says, I'm outside in my backyard trying to relax. It's very hot out there. So I get some ice water. I feel bugs crawling all over my legs and up the table. Some of them are even trying to get into my glass of water. I'm swatting and jumping and very upset. Then there are large holes that appear in the ground that I'm falling into, like one leg falls in there, and there's no bottom. I can see there's a hole in the ground, but I can't see the bottom. I'm grasping for grass and anything so that I can pull myself back up out of the holes, and then I wake up. Now, this one was very interesting, and even though there's no colors involved in this one, I think that there's enough detail in this one to get a good interpretation. So these are the kind of details that I want you guys to pay attention to so that you can elaborate a little bit more on what you're sending in, so that I want to do a good job for you. And I feel like if I don't have enough information, I'm not maybe giving the best interpretation. I'm really wanting to do a good job on your interpretation. So please send as much detail as you can. David makes the best martinis. Okay, so let's go back to the dream. This person is outside in the backyard trying to relax. Okay, key phrase here, trying to relax. So what that tells me is their life is extremely stressful if they're trying to relax. It's very hot out there, so they get some ice water. Ice water kind of represents things that are difficult or cold. Like, when they say a person's personality is cold or standoffish or difficult, that's kind of what the ice water represents in this case. They're trying to relax, things are cold or difficult. And I think this may have to do with their companionship, because it doesn't feel very much like they have any type of support. And you'll see in the latter part of this dream what I mean. So all of a sudden they feel these bugs crawling all over their legs and up the end of the table. And that's a really easy interpretation. Things are bugging me. Things are getting to me. Things are bugging me. So anytime you have a dream about bugs, spiders, things like that. Now, spiders can be something different, but the bugs in general are things that bug you, like minor things. She starts to swat, jump around. She's really upset because things are bugging her. Then all of these large holes start to appear in the ground underneath her. And they're like sinkholes, and they start to, go down, and it's trying to cause her to fall into one of the holes. And the really upsetting thing for her is there's no bottom to the hole. Like when she looks in the hole, it's completely black. And so it's especially scary because we don't know where these holes are going, but the ground represents your base and being grounded. And so she feels like no one is there to help her. She has no support, okay, because of these holes. And in real life, the empty holes is probably a lack of a support system. So she's grasping for the grass beside the hole or anything she can hold on to pull herself back up out of the hole, which means she knows she doesn't have support. She knows that nobody has her back. And she knows that she has to do it all herself. That's the frustration that the subconscious is trying to relay to her. This is too much. You have no support. Meaning maybe you should go talk to a friend or elicit some kind of support for your situation. So the subconscious is kind of calling attention to the fact that she doesn't have any support. So, what are you going to do about that? Okay, let's see if I have any more things on here for you. Oh, how many of you do Fun Friday? I have a free reading on Facebook every Friday morning called Fun Friday. And out of the Fun Friday readings, I made some oracle cards. And I also made like a mini tarot. So if you want to get either of those decks, just scan that QR code and you can have a look at both decks and see if you would like either one. They're a lot of fun. The mini deck is about, the little cards are this big and they have the interpretation written on the card. So you don't even have to memorize what tarot is. You just use the little cards and they'll show you and tell you what they mean. So they're a lot of fun. Let me check for questions really quick. And I'll also check on YouTube to see. Hey to Angela Shields, what are you doing, girl? Good to see you tonight. Let me check the chat on YouTube. We're good. We are golden. Okay, let's go over 2 more dreams I've got here. Okay, the next dream, the person's dreaming of a white house. It has 2 floors. The inside is completely white. There are only steps that lead to the upstairs, no furniture downstairs that they're noting. So I love these details. So she goes up the steps to an upstairs room, and it's also white. There's a long table with several members of the family who've passed on sitting at the table. We are all just looking at each other, and then the dream changes and I forget. Okay, so let's interpret this. The house is white. Anytime the white stands out in a dream, they're talking about purity or spirit, or they're related to purity and spirit. Now, the house has 2 floors. The number 2 is related to love, partnership, and so love and partnership, togetherness is the theme of this. The inside is completely white. Again, they're calling attention to it being a spirit place. There are only steps that lead to the upstairs and no furniture downstairs, which means that the guide for this dream doesn't want you to linger in the lower realm of the consciousness. They want you to go up the steps to the higher consciousness. And the steps kind of symbolically represent a journey, which makes sense. If you're traveling to the higher consciousness, you're taking a journey. So they go up the steps to a room, and it's also white, meaning it's also in the realm of spirit. There's a long table with several members of the family who've passed at the table. So this is a journey to the higher consciousness where the spirits from this person's family exist, and they're wanting to talk or connect with that person. So, and then she says, we are all just looking at each other. Then the dream changes. Okay, the look is important because you've heard of that old saying, the eyes are the windows to the soul. So it's a soul, they make a soul connection, like, and that's sort of saying, how are you? I'm fine. I'm good. You good? Yeah, I'm good. And so the dream changes because that's all that needs to take place, is that connection through the eyes. So that's a really good one. Now, the last dream that I have for you guys, unless somebody puts another dream up on Facebook, let me check and make sure that there's not another dream that has come up. Hey to my lovely, beautiful neighbor, Miss Amber Benting. Good to see you. I think we're good. Nobody has put another dream up yet. Okay, the last dream, and this one is really quick. There's not a lot of detail, but this person was dreaming of his grandfather. The grandfather shows himself to the guy, and all he remembers about the dream is the grandfather keeps saying the word, or says the word very loudly, jukebox. Okay. So looking at the word jukebox, what that means is second best. And then the message for this person is, you don't want to be second best. You want to be first best. In other words, you're not doing your best. I know you can do better. And so the grandfather is giving them encouragement to push, do their best, don't do second best, do their best, and to do better. So that's that interpretation. We go to the chats one more time to make sure that everybody is taken care of. Let me refresh. I hope you guys on Instagram are doing okay this evening. I haven't seen anybody with any questions over there, and I think that we're good. I tell you, a couple things that I'm going to work on is a little bit better lighting and then camera angle, unless you think the camera angle is okay for this. And then another thing that I discovered is the picture quality, they downgrade unless you pay more money per month for a restream. So my picture quality is really good on Instagram, but you're going to see it's a little grainy on here because I won't pay the high prices. Running the show, there's a lot of expenses. There's expenses for equipment, cameras, streaming services. I can go on and on. But anyway, so we have to kind of minimize costs as best we can until such time that I can monetize a little bit better. Now, speaking of monetization, the Oracle cards on here are a way of monetization. The Patreon page is a way to monetize. The stuff on Amazon is sort of like a courtesy for you guys. I may get a nickel or a dime off of something that you purchase, but it's all good. It's kind of a public service for you guys. Anywho, I'm going to leave you there, and next week let's do that show on how to learn who your spirit guide is, because there's a step-by-step process to it, and we're going to go over it all next week. So I appreciate it if you guys would share the show on your news feed, on your social media, whatever, just to spread the word. And that gets more people looking at stuff, and it helps me out a lot on the algorithms. And we will get that next show up. And so I hope you guys have a really good week. Kisses from Kentucky, and I will see you next week.